Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Starfield with Bad Day Guy Gaming. A lot has happened since the last episode. As you all probably know, I was trying out the shipbuilder, which immediately broke my brain. And, well, after a while, I was able to get it figured out, which of course meant I needed a lot more money, so I had to go build an outpost in order to get some resources, get some funds, so that I could build a ship that I needed. And of course, building the outpost broke my brain. As a Fallout 4 builder, I thought it would be much more similar, and it is not. So I do have an outpost that we are going to go visit. I do have a ship that I will show you guys around in just a moment. But I stopped by the Eye as a mission, hoping I could get a little bit of funding. And Vladimir here told me that there's another member of Constellation who I might need to go rescue. So we're going to head back home and get on to that little bit. But for now, let's do a quick tour of the ship. So, in from the airlock, I have expanded the ship quite a bit, primarily because Sarah here has a tendency to want to sleep in my bed because it is the only one. So I did decide to add an extra habitation section onto the side here so we can have a couple extra beds. Now she tends to sleep in this one, and whenever I want to sleep, I actually can hop into my bed without having to have her get up so that I can lay down. And then to even out the other side, I decided to add an armory, which I found out quickly has some perks. At various points on the ship, you have cargo. Now, this ship has some cargo upgrades, but different things like the captain's locker do not count towards that limit on cargo space. And if you go to the armory, I have storage crates and some weapons and different things here galore, and even a couple of spacesuits. Now, none of this counts towards the ship cargo capacity. So I have this set, which is actually a miner set that makes my minerals I mine 25% lighter, once for the suit, once for the helmet. So the stuff that I could carry a lot more minerals and stuff when I'm mining. So this set is mine. This is a couple of different pieces that I was wearing for a while, but I just put them in here in order to store them. Same with all these weapons. These are ones that I actually don't really use anymore. I just use them for storage. Now, the weapons that I do use, I will get to that in a moment. But for now, I've expanded the ship, increased my cargo capacity, and increased my ability to have more crew members, which all I have is her and Vasco currently. But with them, I can do certain things like
detached. Let's get out of here.
I can jump farther because of her. So I can get to where my outpost is a little bit faster. Now, here's where this is. We are currently orbiting Jemison at the space station because they wanted me to meet Vasco and find out what's going on. I found out that I can sell him survey data from some of the planets, and he pays quite well for that. And I have more back at my outpost, and I have a feeling I'm going to be visiting him often because I have scanned many of the planets here, which is why I had surveyed data, because I was looking for a place for my outpost. In fact, I visited several different star systems in order to try to find a place for an outpost. What I settled on is Tau Ceti system. Here's the reason why. It's got a variety of planets, a variety of moons. Now, it does not have any true civilization or places where I can sell stuff. And there are a few pirates and things that tend to lurk around, but for the most part, it is because the planets are quite rich in some of the different resources that I found that I need. So I ended up picking Tau Ceti 8b, a moon of Tau Ceti 8, in order to build my outpost. There was a science outpost already there, which I've already explored most of this. So as you can see, I have several landing sites, several different places that I've been around on it, but we're going to go to the outpost. Now don't worry, yes, I built this outpost, but I will be building more. I was doing this more as a learning experience. I had videos made in advance, so it took me an entire week to get everything figured out. So we'll do the full tour in just a moment. For now, this is my ship. I originally upgraded the weapons, took it out, fought some pirates, blew up a dozen times or so, realized I needed more. Better weapons required upgrades of things like the reactors. So, I upgraded to a much better reactor, which required me to upgrade to a better jump drive, better engines, and so forth in order to get it to function. And I like this because it has a very Star Wars Corvette look to it. I added some cargo capacity in order to get myself up to a reasonable amount of cargo I can carry. But again, certain compartments don't count. People overlook some of these little boxes, which you can actually fill with quite a bit. 10 to 12 kilos or so in a box does not count towards your ship's cargo capacity. All the crates inside do not count towards the ship's cargo capacity. Only the actual cargo hold. Excuse me. But I found this planet that has lots of resources. I have a nice jump pack. I will explain my loadout and equipment in a moment, but I found this planet. I landed originally right over there somewhere. Yeah, 500 meters away is my original landing area. And while I was looking around, I found this spot that has a huge field of aluminum. I've got a decent amount of iron up on the mountain here. And then I have the chlorosilins, which is a liquid. This I use very little of, but one of the reasons why I did this is while I was surveying planets and everything, I came across a couple of traders and people that were offering to set up trades and purchase this stuff at a decent price. They were paying quite well. So I've got some of this going into tanks that I primarily use for selling. I don't use much of it myself, but it is a good barter commodity with some of those trade contracts that you can get. So like a particular place will tell me they want like 300 kilos of it, and they'll pay, a decent price. So I've got some of that going on. My iron and aluminum is primarily for my building and modding, so yeah, I did that. Let me get back over here. I ended up settling on 2 weapons for my ship instead of the 3 because you have to allocate power. I figured out real quick, the less different types of weapons you can have up to 3, but if you only have 2, then you can designate power to those two, giving more power for each of the two, rather than splitting that same power load up to 3 different weapons makes all 3 less effective. Now my lasers here take out shields and do damage to the ship. And then my missiles here take out shields and do damage to the ships. And since I can allocate more power to each of these, I have basically, half the power going to one, half power going to the other, and then the third weapon slot is completely unpowered. That extra power means I can cut through pirates quite well. But I ended up coming here, and I found this area with interesting geography for building, because that's my thing, I'm a builder. And so some of the first things I put in were my landing pad for my ship, so that I can land here. Otherwise my ship would automatically land 500, almost 600 meters away over the landing spot. You build the landing pad and then your ship can land directly at it. And then I built a cargo transfer point. Now the point of this is, since I have certain things that I will need, I will set up other outposts at other bases and have all of the items sent to here. And then the incoming cargo here will be split up into my storage, which I have a decent amount of. It might not look like much, and I've since I built this, I have gone online. I've seen people build huge fields of storage containers with thousands of resources, and the problem is you just don't need it. Some of the best resources that I get, that I find I need a lot more of, comes from the fact that this is a living planet. It is primordial, so it looks a little dinosaur-like as far as some of the plants and things go, as well as some of the animals. But I find that the plants and the animals provide things such as structural material, cosmetic material, decorative materials that makes furnishing and building a lot more effective. So I could just run out, wipe a few animals, get a few resources, such as that aurora palm over there gives me fiber. Fibers used to make furnitures and all different kinds of things. As you see there on the left in the center, there are 7 different types of animals, 6 different types of plants, and then 7 different types of resources on this planet. Even though they're not specifically in here for mining, the 3 main ones that I'm mining are all in my build area. So I've got 1 aluminum extractor, which people build 20 of them, but I'm sorry, 1 has kept me fully stocked, and as you can see, everything is full. I have my 1 chlorosilins extractor because that is for trading, and that produces enough. I sell it often, so it's not completely full, but I have 2 full and 1 filling. And then iron goes in, and of course, tons of aluminum, tons of iron, and then I collect helium-3 because even though there's no helium-3 on this planet, at the near the southern continent, there's a deserted mineral plant. And every few days, the resources respawn in there, and one of the things this plant has is huge reactors that are powered by helium-3, and there's all these canisters and storages of helium-3 around that I just run down and raid to give me helium-3, and as you see, those are all full. Eventually I will get another planet set up with helium-3 in order to ship other resources to here, so I don't need helium-3 on this planet, so I just keep a little bit around in case I need it. But as far as the actual place itself, my scanner up there, one of the things I like to do for decorative is I put lights next to things so that they light up, so that at nighttime the place looks cool. It's not up right now, but this is a moon of a planet, so this is actually the darkest it gets. When the planet is up or the sun is up, it is as bright as daylight. So the place, this is mostly a nighttime tour in order to show off the lighting because I did do all the DLSS and lighting fixes that I still highly recommend in order to get the lighting to look much, much better. So let's do a quick tour, first of all, of my main living quarters and habitat. This is my work area, which I have not done a super whole lot here yet. I have weapons, explosives. Here's my weapons workbench, my armor workbench, or spacesuit workbench. I have medical storage, which will eventually go over to my med bay, which I will show you later, my research lab, and I have done most of the research I can do. There's only a couple of things I can't do. As I said, I got a lot of what I could build at the current level, but I need to put some perk points into chemistry and different things like that for that one. Old Earth cuisine I'm not really bothering with yet because some of the items are more rare, like red meat and cheese and different things like that, are actually a little bit harder to come by. But I've done some of the upgrades for that. My initial focus was all on manufacturing and stuff for building, but all of this is set up and I'm waiting for more perks for outpost engineering and different things like that. I did do helmet mods, and what was the other one? Weapons. I've done a couple of these now. The only one that's still outstanding, a couple of these are barrel mods, which, I actually think... Nope, I have no more in my inventory for that. And grips and stocks. I'm still short on a couple of adhesives in order to finish that one, which I can actually get quickly because this planet has life on it. Animals, trees, different things like that give a lot of your adhesive, lubricants. They give fiber, they give decorative material, they give structural material. So I can do quite a bit with that. I intend to use the upper part of the hab here mostly for display and storage, while this will be my actual work area down here. Now, I chose these specific walkways because it is brightly lit. But as you enter my main hab area, this is home sweet home. And as a builder and decorator, yep, I've done my thing. Oh, it's a little dark at points, so I will turn on the flashlight. The lighting's still not perfect, but that's because this particular hab. I do have some things in the fridge. I have my cereal, my bread for toast, my important ingredients here. Cooking station, storage with tons of stuff. Few plants around. I like a little extra oxygen. I've got my little living area here. I've got a little work area over here where I check out some of the biology of the planet. My main control station. I have a little sitting area over here where I could just sit and look out. I have a little work area here. Eventually, I will get a manager for the outpost assigned. That'll boost production. But as it is, I am poor. I cannot afford to hire someone. And hopefully I'll get someone that can help do some of the repairs and things that are around. I like having the navigation console in the center. Yes, I know. You can just go to your watch and go anywhere. But I'm one of those people, I know it's kind of lame, but I like to actually use my navigation console in order to look around, especially if I'm planning on where to go for resources and different things. But when I actually fly, I always go to the ship and manually take off. Sorry, a lot of people think that gets old quick, but nope, I'm going to launch my ship whenever I launch my ship. And this is my little living area, my favorite thing in the world. I have a Galacticat, regular plushies, some things that makes it home sweet home. I sometimes lay in bed and just stare at my ship. So yep, lotion and tissues. I really love my ship, and got a little bathroom here. Bethesda, we need more options. And yeah, it's not even real privacy here or anything, but yep. Hopefully the modders will get busy and add proper shower stalls and bathroom cubicles and things like that. But yep, this is home sweet home. Now let's have a quick look at some of the other things that I built. Again, I put both the landing pads on each side to kind of provide a little bit of security. I do have some turrets around, keeping an eye on the place, and yes, they've been useful. Some of the animal life can be a little bit aggressive, but if I'm around in my build area here, I just run back over and the gun will take care of them for me, and then I harvest whatever resources they have. But up here is one of my little construction areas that I built. I plan on building greenhouses in order to get more of the biological resources from plants and everything going. I'm going to build the staircase so that they go straight into lifted greenhouses here. But that's going to be in the future. Again, most of the trees and stuff are pretty primordial. But my biologist or botanist residence here, which is not completed, I'm just kind of starting on it, she's going to live here. Now, when I built this, some of the trees were popping through, but I actually thought that was perfect because I intended to put a bunch of plants and things around. And this is going to be her little living area. She has her little bedroom area over here. I've got just a few hanging plants and stuff for now, but once I get her in, I'm going to put a work area over here for her. Maybe some storage containers, some samples and things she's working on. The entire top is just going to be filled with plants and like flower pots, and I've got some like little shovel trowels and things that is going to be her little work area here inside, because even though she has a job as a botanist, she's just a plant lover herself, so that's what I'm looking for. I have another area. Oh, and I missed. This is my med clinic that, again, I'm eventually going to have this decorated, but the primary purpose now is just because I do want a separate medical area for my pharmaceutical lab. I've already unlocked quite a few medical tables, medical beds, different things like that. So I decided I'm just going to put in a proper medical clinic. Once I get more people and stuff in, it just makes sense that I would have something like that. And again, on this side, I have another weapon that's sort of scanning this side just in case. Some of the desert animals, there's a big cliff up here, so they can't get up on there, but they do kind of wander in from the sides a little bit. They don't get too close. They tend not to come into the build area, but if I'm running around, they sometimes get a little angry and chase me. So these weapons deal with that. And again, back to the top. And now you get a little bit better look at... I wish the planet would come up. It's a huge ringed gas giant that takes up half the sky. So the place lights up pretty good. So I've been to the mountains over there, and I found some things. Let's do a quick... Okay, over there in those mountains, I found this ship. This is a Class B ship. I cannot fly it, but it's just sitting over there. There's no crew, there's no nothing around, and I'm assuming some of the aggressive wildlife took out the crew members. But yeah, the ship's just sitting there. So once I get to level B, I intend to go get that guy. And then, oh, let me just go back. And then there's another spot on the planet where I found a Class C ship. Now this one I showed up, and the crew running around outside were some spacers. They got attacked by wildlife on a little bit more dangerous part of the planet. They all died. I went in and there were 2 crew members inside. I killed them. But this Class C ship is now sitting over there waiting for me to get Class C certification. Then I can go get that. Now this guy was a Class A ship that I found. It had some zealots in it who instantly attacked me. This is one of the dinosaur-looking animals that are on this planet. I mostly stood back and hid, ran from their bullets while they were shooting at me, while this guy ate them. So there's one of them laying dead there. Went onto the ship. There were like 3 or 4 more inside that I were able to take out. But yeah, I got this ship. And this is what it looks like from above. And so, yeah, I ended up doing some reconfiguring, playing around with it, and ended up selling it for a decent profit as a Class A ship. That gave me the funds in order to upgrade mine to get it to what I wanted a little bit better. Yeah, and that other ship, which was huge, only had like a 400 or 600 cargo capacity. That was it. It was mostly just a whole bunch of empty hallways. So yeah, this one is much better, much more powerful. And the big ship, yeah, it was just something to sell. Now, I did a bunch of survey work on the planet. I went around everywhere. And so in all these different continents and places, which it's hard to see on here, there's mountainous areas, there's savanna, there's forested, which can be a little bit more dangerous, and then there's full-on jungle environments. Now the jungle and forested have the most dangerous creature. It looks more like a praying mantis, but it's called a cricket. They one-hit everything. One hit on Vasco will put him down. One hit kills me. So they're dangerous, but yeah. I've been around, kind of explored the planet a little bit, and was able to get most of my resources for everything just from the one planet. I have visited everything so everything is scanned, just because I was looking for a place to build and some of the resources. There's a couple of resources which I have had to buy. Primarily some xenon gas for the lights, and then some titanium for a couple of the structures and things that I built, because there's no titanium or xenon in this system. So I did go buy some of that. But the items that I have I could sell for quite a bit more. So one other kind of cool thing about this planet is, of course, when you land, there's all these little points of interest and things around that populate. I got kind of lucky, and one of the reasons why I decided to build here is because I have some of these locations and things around, such as this military training post, which just had a few oddball spacers in it. And I've went there several times, and so far, though, they haven't spawned back. But I've been able to collect a lot of my decorative items, get a little bit of resources and such. And the cool thing is, this is why I'm saying no enemy can get to me on this side. It's a sheer cliff, and they can only come from that direction over there. But yeah, it's right there. And if I jump here and boost, I can pretty much land right about at those rocks. And they just run around, collect anything that I need. But yeah, there's a lot of different points and things around that keep me pretty well supplied. Now, there's a structure over there that's got a crazy scientist in it. Well, he's not a scientist. He's a photographer, and he sells photos for your digital photo frames. Yeah, that's what he sells. So, yeah, this is my nice little sort of compact outpost, my primary place that I intend to keep as my primary residence. And I'm going to have everything shipped to here. And with that, I have been reasonably busy. So, as I say, I've upgraded my generators. I've upgraded my missiles. I only have 2 weapons. I have the lasers. that do both hull and shield damage as automatics, so I can tear through shields and tear through enemy hulls with this. My missiles are the same thing, 36 and 36. They have a nice high fire rate, so yeah, I can punch out a lot. I left the third one completely empty because I want to allocate the extra power to the two primary weapons. My engines are ridiculously powerful, but I mostly do those for the maneuverability side. I don't keep more than like 5 power into the engines because that's plenty. My shield is okay. It's not great, but it's good enough, holds up. Nobody lives long enough because thanks to my weapons to be a real threat. And then my grav drive, which I only ever keep 1 engine power allocated. In fact, I do not keep it allocated. I keep it under my system select and reserve, and whenever you jump, it will automatically apply it to the grav drive in order to jump. However, I keep it down here in case I ever want to add it to one of my other like engines or missiles or something. I can simply select it and add it without having to first take it off the grav drive and then add it. So if you just keep 1 in reserve, that'll power your grav drive and get you pretty much anywhere you want to go. Weapons. Let's actually skills weapons here in the inventory. I have no weapons equipped. I will fix that right now. I used to carry another pistol, which was okay, did like 17 damage, and it was a blue rare one that did like 15% more damage against humans. Well, it was like 17 damage, so it bumped it up to like 18.5. Yeah, useless as soon as I found this thing. Even with this being a standard non-rare weapon, it two hits pretty much anybody. Cheesy Shredder, I keep this one just for the animals because this uses cheap ammo. And 3 shots will wipe out most of the regular animals on this planet that I use to harvest for resources. I have my sniper rifle that I'm hoping to replace. I have better weapons, but their ammunition is ridiculously expensive. And as you can see for this one, I have 1,596 rounds because I get this from everybody. And mostly I just use this for the scope to look around. So I have it, but yeah, I only use it if I have to. Then I have my favorite weapon so far. Once I found this, I looked it up and realized this is one of the best in-game, early game weapons that you can get. It is a 6-shot semi-automatic shotgun that does 120 damage, decent range and accuracy and everything like that. And yeah, this thing is pretty awesome. And then I have Diggy Pop, my good old-fashioned mining rig, which yes, I have the Mars skin, the old Mars skin for it, just because I think it looks pretty cool. But I have them keyed for key 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on my one-handed keyboard, so I do limit myself to 5 weapons in order to keep them handy in that purpose. Traditionally from Fallout 4, I kept 3 because I would keep a short range, a medium range, and then a long range weapon. But in this case, I'm going with 4 just because there's so many different kinds of weapons. And being on this planet with the animals just means I like to keep this one handy primarily for exterminating pests. For my spacesuits, I've been around through several different iterations. My formal tuxedo, one of the reasons why I like this is the nice high protections, especially the different like corrosives and radiation. As you go to different planets, some of them are quite hostile, and you will need like very high corrosive protection, very high radiation protection, because some of the planets are just very harsh. So this is a nice balance. It also gives me a little bit extra protection from ranged weapons. And if I don't see an enemy and they snipe at me, that's usually when I take that damage. But on this particular planet, there are a lot of corrosive gas vents around. And I used to take corrosive damage on occasion, but now, because this has 25 and then it has an additional 25 corrosive resistance, I could just run right through the gas vents with no damage whatsoever, and then the suit self-repairs. Same thing with the helmet. my shiny melon guard, because it's nice and shiny to guard my melon. This can reflect attacks back on the enemy, and I've actually had it happen a couple times. It's got the extra oxygen capacity because I do sprint everywhere, and more corrosive resistance, and it's got decent stats. So, and I did add some ballistic shielding to boost up the physical a little bit because that was pretty low originally. My Look Ma I Can Fly pack is a single shot, so it runs the entire fuel source and does one big jump, but then it refills faster. Helps block damage from humans, gives me a little bit of airborne resistance, which I've only experienced that once, and it is on this planet. There are like these mushroom groves that can make you, can cause lung damage if you're not careful. And then 10% chance to ignite nearby attackers. Yes, it works. Mostly there's some like herd animals on this planet. They're very weak. They're like the weakest, lowest level animals on this planet. But there's a pack of them, and if you make them angry, they will charge you and kick you and stuff, but they don't do much damage. They're like a cross between a pig and a cow. But they have very low health. They're like low on the totem pole, or on the food chain, I should say, on this planet. And so they're easy to kill. So it's hilarious. I can run right through the middle of them and set half of them on fire, and they just drop dead, and then I use my exterminator automatic weapon to wipe out the rest and harvest everything I need from them. Base apparel, my hazmat suit. Again, thermal, corrosive, airborne, radiation. Decent stats for energy and EM, gives me a little bit of extra health in O2. All around, it's one of the most well-rounded things you can wear for protection. My good old-fashioned Fallout 4 style. I carry 2 grenades and a mine, even though I've used grenades, but I have only used a mine like once, and then they didn't run over it, so I picked it back up. I don't think mines will be as useful for my playstyle, but I do use the occasional grenade. But in order to keep my weight down, I do limit what I carry on that stuff. For aid, amp, in case I need to run or jump. This stuff, 300 damage resistance. Heart gives 200 damage resistance. So, yeah, this is my I'm in trouble, I am really in trouble medication. I did find some of this stuff. I've got like 5 bottles of it. 20% persuasion chance. I'm not going to put any points into this because I tend to be straightforward and honest with my dealings with most people. So I doubt I'm going to have to use this, but I will eventually have to deal with those pirates where I'm going to have to play spy. And so I have a feeling I'm going to need this. Have injector. This stuff is important. Brain injuries and concussions. One of the big problems with brain injuries and concussions is when you get done on a planet, you've looted everything, you're overloaded, you're barely alive, you get back into your ship. If you're suffering from a brain injury or concussion, it makes you a bad pilot. Your ship feels sluggish. Things can go blurry. Space combat is almost impossible. So if you're flying home and you meet up with pirates, you are dead. So I keep this on me just in case. Also, it does hernia, hypothermia. If you get a hernia, you can't carry as much weight. You end up having to drop half your stuff. Heat stroke and hypothermia make you to where you can't sprint. Lung damage, poisoning, radiation poisoning. These all affect you in different ways. This is almost a complete cure-all. I can also carry 5 med packs. I tend to use in major battles around 7, but I usually find a couple of them on the way. So I think 5 tends to do me reasonably well. Same thing with miscellaneous. I have some cell keys and things that I found, but Digipick. I only carry 5 of these because I tend not to use them that much. I'm not putting too much into lock picking because I've come across one door at one of the labs here on the planet and 2 safes, and those that I picked have, it's just not worth it. You get a couple of rounds of ammo, maybe one interesting thing out of a safe, and the one room had like a rifle and 2 pistols that I could see through the window, and they were pretty much junk. So that was the only thing I missed, not being able to pick locks. But from what I understand in the future, that might be more important, I have a feeling with some of the missions and stuff, if you can't get through a door, you're stuck. So I am going to upgrade my lockpicking, but that's going to be later. And this is everything I carry, so I'm at 44 pounds. Now let's check out perks. Again, excuse me. On the physical side, this was one of my initial perks because I'm ex-military. So I haven't put too much into it. Eventually, I might work on some stealth. But for the most part, I find I don't need it. I know how to work with direct line of sight. Most of the planets tend to have rocks and things around. You can hide without having to use stealth too much. And commerce. Commerce has helped a lot. I've already unlocked the next level because I've been doing a little bit of buying and selling in order to get some money to build. So I need to invest in another perk though in order to keep going to the next levels. But for now, that's where I'm at. Scavenging. This has significantly paid for itself. I highly recommend this one. In areas where you would normally find one cred stick on a table, because I have this, I will find 3 cred sticks on a table. I went back and tested it with different saves, and I went into an area with a save, and there on a table there's 1 cred stick, on a bed there's 1 cred stick, on a shelf there's 1 cred stick. Selected this, reloaded an older save, selected this, went back in the exact same area, and it was 3 on a table, 3 on a bed, 3 on a shelf. So this seriously pays for itself. I'm very happy I got this. And ammo in this game is very expensive. So I intend to put more ranks into ammo, even though ammo's weightless. It is expensive to buy. I do hope they come out with a more hardcore mode like they did with Fallout, because I don't like that ammo is weightless. I like the challenge of having to limit your ammo and limit your weapons, because you can't carry a 500-pound backpack. So yeah, I am going to work on this one a little bit. So move on to the next one. Oh, and again, social. I'm not putting any perks into persuasion because I found those pills, and those pills do better. See, 10% increased chance of success. For the rare chance that you have to persuade someone, I just carry the 1 pill bottle that weighs 1/10 of a kilo, and it does twice that. So, ballistics, because I'm originally an ex-military, it comes with the ballistics. So I am going to slowly work this up as I go. I'm not putting any into dueling or lasers, because dueling, you don't take a knife to a gunfight. And for lasers, my character does better with ballistics, so that's what I'm doing. Pistol certification. Pistols do 10% more damage. I am a close quarters combat guy with a pistol, so especially when boarding ships, I find pistols are the most effective way to go. Shotgun certification, primarily because of my favorite automatic shotgun, but I am also going to do rifles and different things. I'm not sure about heavy weapons. We'll see. Demolitions, I just don't use them that much. I use grenades, but I despise having a throwing arc on grenades. To me, that breaks immersion, so I probably will not do demolitions unless I have to. Science. This is where I put a lot of my stuff. Geology. Get more common and uncommon inorganic resources from surface objects. So whenever you're running around and there's rocks and you see ore, because you have this, instead of seeing 1 ore on a rock, there are 2. Instead of rocks that would normally have 2 ore, they have 3. So you get more stuff from this, and this helps me mine those rare things that my outposts are not producing. Medicine, because I tend to get shot or ran over by monsters. So yeah, need the heal packs. Med packs are harder to come by and very expensive, so this helps a lot. Research methods. So much of building, so much of upgrading. You can't pop a laser sight off of a weapon you found and put it onto yours. Doesn't matter if you have the mod, you cannot attach it without the perks. So the faster you can do all your research, the faster you can use the cool things you find. So I have rank 1. I'm going to go into rank 2 as well. The main thing that these do is research projects, the cost. I don't find the cost as important. The cost is negligible, but in order to research more things, you need to rank this up, and I want that stuff. So that's why I do that. Surveying. Uh, Surveying is a good one. It's not for what you think. You don't want to look around with your hand scanner. You can see trees and stuff far away. That's not a problem. Where this is useful is animal or planets with animals. Some of the animals can one-shot you. And yes, if you're going to do a scan, you have to scan them. Well, if you run up to 10 meters away from some big monster that can just eat you in one gulp, yeah, it doesn't work out too well. Increasing this is very important so that you can sneak up behind a rock, pop out, scan them, and then run away. That is what I had to do with the most dangerous creature on this planet because I had to scan like 10 of them, and each one can one-shot you, and if you get within 15 meters, they turn around and just eat you. So yeah, I had to rank this up in order to get the 20 meters, and even then I have to sneak through bushes and hide behind rocks to scan them one at a time. I intend to get this as far as possible because the more scanning range you have, you could just stand in a spot and spin around and scan a whole bunch of different animals, and that is going to be very useful to keep you alive. And shipbuilding. Now again, security. The one rank in this gets you through 90% of what you need. The 2 auto attempts for banking just means that if you mess up, you can back out twice and save 2 of the rings that you use so you don't waste your digipicks. So it allows 2 backouts. You can upgrade it even more, but I probably won't unless I need to in order to get into a specific area because it's part of the mission. So I will, once I get some more perks up, I'm going to bank 1 perk and save it in case I ever need it for this. But for now, if you find a safe, it's just got a couple of rounds of ammo, maybe a med pack. It's just not worth it doing perks that you need early game on that yet. Now, piloting, being able to fly forward, turn off your engines, use ship thrusters. You can turn sideways and you can effectively side strafe in your ship. Very effective for space combat. Between that and my ship upgrades, I can eat pirates for lunch. Jetpack comes with my character being ex-military, so I could do that all the way from the beginning, which has been cool. Ballistic weapon systems. I selected this one early, only it turns out I don't really use very many ballistic weapons, so this was almost a wasted perk for me. I would have much rather have had targeted functionality because taking over and selling ships is very profitable. Such as the one ship that I found. Again, I will. This guy here. I found this guy, took over the crew, took over the ship. I was able to register this ship to my name because you have to register it before you can sell it. I was able to register it for like 8,111 credits, and then I was able to sell it for like 26,000 credits. So it had some very good engines and components on it that were valuable. So I ended up profiting like 18,000 credits just by taking this puppy and selling it. As far as the ships, it only had 2 weapons. Had a beautiful cockpit. I do love the cockpit on it, but it didn't fit my ship as far as style. I didn't like it. I could have sold the individual component and then bought it and put it on mine. And while it is beautiful, it didn't make my ship from the outside look proper. So I ended up keeping, and I do like the original cockpit that I have. So, but yeah, ships, valuable, selling, good way to get money. So yeah, that's pretty much the place. That's all caught up now. I did talk to Vlad, mostly because I found out I could sell him surveys, which apparently he pays really well. So I've got some more surveys. Next time when we come back, we're hopping back proper onto the missions. I'm going to head back to Vlad. I'm going to sell him a bunch of surveys that I have, because I have a bunch. I'm going to make some credits. I'm not going to bother upgrading my ship again for now, but we are going to get on the trail of our actual mission, find out what to do. I have that young lady who's missing that I need to go see if I can find her. She's one of the Constellation crew. I have the other people back at Constellation headquarters that have a mission waiting on us, and we're going to get onto that next time. So this is Bad Day Guy Gaming with a quick update to let you know. Sorry it took me a week to learn this, but I didn't want to make you guys have to watch 20 hours of videos. And trust me, I've spent a lot more than that trying to get all this stuff figured out. And I'll see you guys next time. This is Bad Day Guy Gaming signing off.